how does the leader build adaptability to this? How do you, because there's one side of you that you take to work as a leader. There's another part where you're leading at home. There's another part where you're leading in other areas where you've got influence. So what are the tools that we bring to juggle this?
Well, thank you for that question, because I've had cause to think about it myself in recent times in trying to develop this resilience that you're talking about. And I found that there are three aspects that leadership has to be good at. One is a trait, the other is a role, and the third one is a skill. I'm talking now about what I've had to develop it myself. The first trait has basically been the ability to listen. I know, I would say I listen, but I've learned how to listen, and I think leaders should learn how to listen so intently without any preconceived notions, and to stay quiet on the inside until they learn something new. Now, here's the trick: if you don't learn something new, you're not really listening. So that particular trait has been extremely helpful. And for me, during the quarantine, I have learned more in 3 months than I've done in the last 5 or 6 years. And I think it's basically because of, intensive listening, which is a trait that is needed. I think the other thing, the other aspect is the role that leaders play. The leader has to see himself or herself as the chief culture officer of the organization. I like what Dan Coyle put together in his book, The Culture Code. He said, over 200 organizations were studied over a 10-year period. And they found that there was a 765% increase in profit directly attributable to their corporate culture. What that means is that the most important thing for the leader today is not on the balance sheet, and that's corporate culture. And if you have the culture right, you're not just the leader, but the entire organization will be resilient, because you're pulling together in the same way, running the same values, and all of that. The third aspect I found is this issue of skill. I think the most important skill I have identified going forward is the ability for the leader to start with the end in mind, paint a very vivid picture in the mind of his or her people, give them the tools to get the job done, and get out of their way. It's a skill, because it's not that easy to sit on your hands, especially when you have this natural tendency to want to take over certain things. I think that's important. Going forward, the most effective leaders must be masters of behavior engineering. Their job is to unleash human energy on to solve any problem, project, or situation that might arise.
Wow. Thank you very much.